Hello, Mrs. Kryemadhi. Thank you very much for coming for this interview. Could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you for coming all the way in Tirana. It's a pleasure to have this interview together. I now serve on my fourth mandate as Member of Parliament, where the first time I was elected as a member of the Socialist Party, which now is in power. From those early times of political engagements, things have changed dramatically in the political landscape of Albania. Together with many promising young politicians, we founded the youth wing of the Socialist Party in 1992. And back then, people's desire for change, but also the spirit of democracy, was greater throughout the country. Fast forward to today, Albania's democracy has leaned more towards autocracy. The government is more powerful than ever, as the politicians in parliament have used their mandate not to benefit people, but to change the constitution and laws and grasp as much power in their hands as possible. It is this politics of poverty and lack of progress from which Albanians are fleeing from and coming to Europe and beyond.
So what about the local elections? How came that the Socialist Party won again, all over Albania, and what is foreseen for the next 4 years?
It was this governance system, filled with corruption, criminal links and money laundering, which made possible for Prime Minister Rama to buy the previous opposition leader, a move that gave him absolute majority in parliament and total control of local power from 2019 to 2023, since the opposition boycotted the 2019 local elections. Today, after the 2023 local elections, Albanians are breathing more freely, as finally the monopoly of the government in the local power is over. The outcome of these elections is far from what we expected and from what Albanians hoped, but what we have today is way better than what we had in those previous 4 years. The reports of the OSCE ODIHR, of the international observers, the media, have shown all the violations, vote buying, state resource usage, and all the manipulations the autocratic government of Prime Minister Edi Rama has done to not allow a free vote, which would have reflected the real will of the people for change. Nevertheless, Albanians now have a strong united opposition, which is back in the institutions of local power and will represent all Albanians no matter their vote choice in these elections. The city council members of the Freedom Party throughout the country will be actively engaged to promote transparency, accountability, and bring citizen concerns in the agenda of the local power by being a real voice for their needs. While the mayoral candidates of the opposition which have won will be working tirelessly to bring more service to people and also a new style of politics, away from corruption, personal interests, and arrogance, this change is very important to stop depopulation of the country. We are happy that many of the elected mayors and city council members of the Freedom Party are women and young professionals. In this 4-year mandate, they will advocate for more responsible governance, help bring more services to the citizens, and provide a new style of politics. It is our job to show our alternative to Albanians. So after 2 years in the upcoming parliamentary elections of 2025, even more people can trust the electoral process, participate in elections, and make the change with their vote.
So could you please comment the release of Mr. Tahiri, a high-level politician, and the arrest of Mr. Dako, the former mayor of Durrës? Both men very close to Prime Minister Edi Rama. Shouldn't this be a problem for him?
In 2016, the Albanian parliament approved a judicial reform, with the help of the US and the EU, to develop an independent judiciary capable of fighting corruption, organized crime, and provide integrity justice for all Albanians and foreign investors. I voted that reform with the confidence that was the right thing to be done for the country. Under the leadership of the party leader, Mr. Ilir Meta, so did the other 18 members of parliament of the Freedom Party, while as Speaker of the Parliament, Mr. Meta made a huge contribution to this reform. He made possible for the judicial reform to have a unanimous vote in the Parliament, 140 votes out of 140 members of Parliament, for the first time in our parliamentary history. This unanimous vote was needed to give a clear message that the reform belongs to the people, not to the politicians. Unfortunately, Mr. Rama broke the engagement to keep hands away from justice, and 8 years after the reform was approved, the new judicial system is filled with people that Prime Minister Rama has picked and chosen, and the criminal proceedings against corruption and organized crime in Albania are influenced from the orders and intimidations coming from the Prime Minister's office. Prosecutors and judges, unfortunately, are not allowed to perform their duties according to the law, as the government exercises tremendous pressure. I have personally filed a criminal record to the Special Prosecution Against Corruption and Organized Crime, against the government for public-private partnership of waste management, the so-called incinerator scheme, which were supposed to treat waste and produce energy by incinerating the waste. Thanks to the help of very dedicated people, we have presented to justice all the legal violations of the public officials during the procurement process awarding this concession. We have gone further to conduct our own research and have provided documentation about the fiscal crimes of private businesses, which in collusion with a company that has got this €1 million concession from the government, had made fake economic transactions, so the concession company can justify the greatly inflated investments that they declare to the state. As of today, 2 years after the facts are before the prosecutors, not a single euro of Albanians' taxes have been saved. The criminals are still earning thousands of euros every day thanks to the 30-year concession of the Tirana's incinerator. SPAC hasn't had the strength to see the facts as they are for key political figures of Prime Minister Rama's party, such as the mayor of Tirana, Erion Veliaj, and the mayor of Fier, Armando Subashi. In this aspect, who goes in and out of jail from Edi Rama's party, to me it's party of their personal fights, while for the public it looks more like an episode from a series that is written by Rama in his free time. What we should be focused is the desire of Albanian people for a free and independent justice system, which presses charges against every politician, not as a weapon of Prime Minister Rama against his opponents, not as a statistic, but as a due legal process which can effectively eradicate corruption from Albania's governance.
What is your plan as a Freedom Party, PL, for the elections of 2025?
We have to be constructive and be the total opposite of Rama. As he gets power by dividing Albanians, we have to show care and build a spirit of community, of belonging, so that our people don't flee the country, but can get together to change it for the better. Albania needs to repair its politics to serve the people and stay in the path towards EU integration. In this context, the Freedom Party is engaged to be a viable alternative for the people, present solutions to the current issues the country is facing, and be an open party to provide a space to youngsters, women and professionals to be candidate for MPs in 2025. As Albania walks towards the EU, we will make sure to have capable members of parliament, which can make this process as effective and faster as possible.
Thank you for coming.